Yeah, hey, anyone that doesn't know me, Frankie, real name is Francis, but that's Frankie has sort of been it's like the Australian sort of colloquial thing where we like to shorten names and make it easier. So everyone used to call me Frankie, so I just started going by that. But yeah, as far as career-wise, I've done a little bit of everything, from architectural visualization to working on films to now working in games. And sort of started, when 3D was a little bit weird and unknown. So it's been a bit fun through the journey of doing that. But then also started at what is called Animark, which was originally a company, and then got into doing YouTube stuff. So it's pivoted a little bit into what I actually wanted it to be, but I'm sure we'll get into all of it. But as far as the reasons for doing it and how I think other people should be doing stuff like that as well, which is really cool. Which is Animark on YouTube, which you might have seen. Yeah, that's just a little bit about me and what I've done and what I'm doing.
Cool, thank you. So we'll go into like the YouTube stuff and your career as well, but why don't we start kind of from your entry, Rookie Awards. So it'd be cool to go into it in a minute, maybe show some visuals as well, maybe share your screen and go through it. But just to start, like, what inspired you to enter?
So I'm guessing that a lot of people, that are either in this chat or enter the Rookies in general, like they have a desired industry that they want to get into, whether it's games or film and sometimes those avenues are very niche in what you need to be skilled in. So for me, like I had sort of done a little bit of, like I said before, I'd done a little bit of everything. I hadn't worked in the games industry before. So a lot of my portfolio didn't showcase the elements that I needed to work in that. So like you would be applying, like even if you have good work, you would apply to a studio and then it would usually be similar feedback, which is, yeah, but you haven't, got real-time characters, or you haven't done hair cards before, or your retopology and UVs aren't up to scratch. So I thought, okay, so what I need to do is get my foot in the door for that world, which was the Rookies. And I thought, what better way to, kick the door down than put up a couple of game characters and try to get my name out there a little bit as far as someone that knows what I was doing. So that was pretty much the reason that I did, was that I saw that there was game studio opportunities if you won the Rookies, and it was actually in the city that I was moving to at Playside, which was great. So that was sort of the goal, and it kind of worked out, which was good. But that was mainly the reason, was that I didn't have any experience in that specific field. So I was like, this is probably the fastest way to get there.
And did it help at all?
Yeah. I mean, I did the internship at the end of last year. I was already working at the time. I was working on a couple of films at the time, and it was actually a good thing for me personally because it was quite a significant step back from where I was working, and I needed to sort of park the ego a little bit and say, look, I need experience in doing this. So I'm going to have to park basically my life for a month or so and then go and do this. And I think it did help, whether it be the actual work experience that I got or the people that I met there. Yeah, I think it was a very beneficial experience, just purely because it is like nothing else I've ever done. Like working in a game studio is very different to working in film.
Yeah, actually before I was gonna say let's go into your entry, but before that, like, what are the differences? Like, what can you kind of highlight there? It's an interesting topic.
Yeah. I think in my experience, specifically VFX studios, depending on what part of the pipeline you're doing, whether it's pre-viz, post-viz, you're a character artist, FX, a lot of it is very role specific. So if you're working as a character artist, you might be a character modeler of or work on grooms, or you're very, lack of a better term, pigeonholed into a specific role. When in games, it's more like, or as what I'm doing now as an asset artist, which we can get into what that is later, is you do a bit of everything. So it's like if there's a character, you would model it, you'd sculpt it, you'd texture it, you'd implement it into engine, you'd build the shaders, whether it's online or offline rendered, you'd basically do everything from start to finish. So you would complete the asset, and that to me is a lot more what I want to do. I don't want to, like, it obviously, if we as what we learn, and when we build our portfolios and we try to get better and better, we do a bit of everything. So I think, it only made sense that in work, that's what I wanted to do, was do a bit of everything instead of just doing one aspect of the pipeline.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a good insight into the differences. I like how you've already experienced both of those different worlds. It's really cool. So would you mind kind of sharing a screen, maybe going through your entry and telling us like what you thought made it stand out?
Sure.
Cool.
I'll just get it up. Share screen on Discord. Don't know if I've done this before.
It's just a little like icon with an
Looks
arrow.
all right. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, we can see.
Cool. I'll put you guys down here. Sorry, I'm moving house at the moment, so I've only got 2 monitors.
I only got 2. I don't think I've ever had more than 2. That's cool.
Well, I usually have 2 good ones, but I've got 1.5. I've got 1 and then the Cintiq, so it's not very. I wish I had more. I think, like everyone as well, like I think it's safe to say that when we do work and we look at it after a while, you look back at it and you're like, I'd change everything about this, but let's not focus on that. Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at this. So for anyone that is not familiar with this or didn't know as far as the entry itself, I did this character for a course for Jay Hill's character online course, which I think is a good segue into anything that you want to be doing as far as like a specialty. Like in my experience, I wanted to do character art. So I was like, I'm going to find what I think is the best character artist in the best avenue of what I want to be doing, and I'm going to learn from them. And I think that's just a good general tip for anyone that wants to be getting into whatever discipline that you want to be doing. Finding someone to learn off. Like schools are great, but they're never going to be giving you absolutely everything. Like even the school that I went to years and years and years ago, I don't remember a thing from there. Like the stuff that I've learned that I feel like is the biggest takeaway ever has been through people and online and relationships and networking and going down weird rabbit holes of YouTube. And I think getting specialty training in the discipline that you want is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as this is this was sort of, I'm guessing, probably the thing that got me, like even here, like some of this UVing is rubbish, so don't worry about any of that. But I think as far as showcasing end-to-end pipeline, like that's a skill set in itself, is being able to say, I can comfortably get into Unreal Engine and build shaders. I understand how PBR workflows work, what's involved in migrating assets between different things, different scenes and different levels and stuff. I'm sure anyone who's opened up an ArtStation portfolio and seen someone's work and they've put their character in an environment, or it's really well lit, or there's really, like, that's just another skill set that might separate you from other people as well. Like as far as work and places that I have sort of pivoted into with roles and work, the common thread is always Unreal Engine, and it could be because it was the shiny new toy at the time, but Unreal Engine is like, it's everyone wants you to know. Like, I feel like the future is real time in some way or another, and the other skill sets are very interchangeable. But the one common thing has been Unreal Engine, because I think that is where the future's heading, and Unreal just happens to be, leading that. So I feel like the chat's turned into dog chat now.
We got a question. I'm not sure if it's completely related to what you're talking about now, but if you ever want to answer them, feel free. Otherwise, we can do it at the end. Maybe it is.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, there's only one there. I'll see what it is. It's on my trivia. I'll read it out loud in case anyone can't see it. Is it okay to sell my 3D? I'm guessing that means Dragon Ball Z characters, which are sculpted by me online after 3D print. Will be copyright issues? To be honest, that's a really good question. I got no idea. I would probably say if you were making an insane amount of money, that they might come after you. But yeah, I've never worked in toys and copywriting issues with that sort of stuff. I know that if people want to take you down, they will. But I reckon just give it a crack. Yeah. So this was based off a concept. This concept here. This was based off a concept by Della Longfish, one of the concept artists over at Santa Monica Studio. And I actually met him last year when I went over to Lightbox, which was really cool, and got to show him this. And yeah, it was great. But yeah, no, it's cool going back and seeing all this stuff.
Yeah, what do you think like stands out the most out of your entry?
I think, well, at the end of the day, it's an art competition, right? So presentation is huge. I think like putting the time in to present your work well, like these things are always going to be the thing that separates you from everyone else. Like, what's the thing? It's the same as a YouTube thumbnail, or the same thing as an ArtStation. What do you want to click on? Like, what is the thing that interests you? I'm sure if I posted that as the thumbnail, it probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of traction. And I think sometimes when you put so much effort into like this stuff, like the actual sculpt or the actual model itself, going that extra, 5-10% at the end to do something like this might seem like, I've already put so much work into this, I can't be bothered. But like, it almost doesn't matter if you're not going to if you're not going to present it in a way that does it justice.
Yeah.
So I think doing post in Photoshop, experimenting with different lighting scenarios, all that kind of stuff is the thing that separates it from, just being a model in a viewport. So I would probably say highly prioritizing presentation is huge. Same as with this girl. It's kind of a hack, but the yellow was a trick. Like, it pops like there's a lot of color contrasting with the purple of the lollipop. And I know the lollipop's the wrong way around. It's just the way that it was in the concept. So I was like, I was backing and forthing about whether to flip it around. You can see, did I put the concept in here? Yeah. Like, it makes no sense. And I actually knew this concept artist, so we'd actually worked together before.
Oh, really? That's cool.
But yeah. I try to have, relationships with people that I do anything with online, in some way, like, so that they're not just, names behind profiles, which is a good tip, is to go and meet people. But yeah, I think as far as the entry, that's probably the biggest thing. Put that time into to present is huge.
I like your trick with the yellow. I feel like anyone watching this, if you're going to enter the awards, like, take the time to think about, as Frankie's been saying, or presentation, and maybe even do that trick, like a kind of like a nice color, especially for the for the main image to be like catch someone's eye. I feel like that was a really good choice.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, it's not. It's just color theory. Like color,
Yeah.
like what contrasts well, what's going to stand out in the thing. This was actually on the ZBrush screensaver thing for ages, and the amount of people that would send it to me, and they're like, "Oh, your thing's on the ZBrush screensaver," and I'm like, I wonder if you would have noticed it and it would have stuck out to everyone if it wasn't like this, 40% of this picture is just giant yellow, like it's the cyberpunk yellow, like, so it's it doesn't need to be exactly something like a pop of a color. I mean, it always helps because that's probably the easiest thing to connect with quickly, but anything like that's sort of, gets you that extra little bit of connection with someone, that's a pretty easy change, is somewhat, yeah, it's an easy win.
Yeah, I mean, I think the color draws the eye, and then your image keeps the audience. So, yeah.
Yeah, like this guy's got nothing popping about him, but
cool though.
There's still the same. But yeah, there's still the same sort of color theory, I guess you would call it, like elements going on where there's interest and breakup and things like that. So complementary colors.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Someone asked, there's a few questions actually. The first one was, what programs do you prefer for modeling costumes?
I tried getting into, so a company reached out to me called Style 3D, which is great, and they do it's basically Marvelous Designer, and it's sort of the exact same thing. Like, honestly, it's got the same interface and everything. I'm trying to lend more into just sculpting clothing than doing like simulated stuff as far as Marvelous and all that kind of stuff. Like, I would rather model it, try to get it done in ZBrush and try to get my skills better with cloth stuff. But yeah, I think as far as if there's a simulation program that does clothing, they're all pretty interchangeable at the moment. I would say that Marvelous is definitely at the top of that list purely because of its integration with other programs, like Unreal. I think is really good. But yeah, for the most part, I would always try, unless it's something crazy complex, I'd probably just stick to just trying to sculpt it in ZBrush and get your skills better.
Okay, cool. Another question: what was the biggest challenge you had felt while improving your skills and all the process until opportunities started to come?
The biggest challenge you had where you felt while improving your skills? Yeah, so I think this is going to suck because I know it's exactly the way that I felt. Say you finish something from start to finish, and you do all of the things. You model, you UV, you retop it, you texture, you put it in Engine, and you get your picture up there, and you're like, all right, I've done all the things. I'm ready to have everyone tell me how awesome I am now, and it doesn't happen. And then you do it again, and it doesn't happen. And then you do it again, and it doesn't happen. I think the key to actually breaking through and making people notice you is relentless obsession with the reps and continuing to do it and just doing it because you like doing it. And in that process, you will get better and people will notice 100% if you just put your nose down and keep going. It does. The people that break through are the people that don't let that stop them, and that's as simple as it is. I think.
So get so good they can't ignore you. I think that's a topic that keeps coming up. Cool. So in this entry then, what was like your biggest challenge that you faced?
With the entry itself, I didn't really have a challenge. Okay, well, the entry itself, let's say that is, okay, what am I putting up there that showcase? Because I knew that all the stuff was there that was decent or that I thought was good, but I'm like, okay, Like, I don't think, from my memory, I don't know if any of these existed. I don't know if I'd done any of these yet. I think I might have done these specifically for the entry. So this comes back to the thing I was saying before about presentation. Like, how much more can I plus this thing? How much more can I make someone scrolling through this post like, wow, you know, this is impressive, or I'm enjoying this experience of looking through this thing instead of just a static image of something. So maybe the presentation and trying to put my best foot forward in that sense. Like, you have to almost take your hat off as a character artist and go, okay, I'm now a marketer. Like, I'm going to try and market myself here. So how can I sell? Because at the end of the day, it's just one thing. It's one model of one character. How can I flesh this thing out and make it look good in all these different ways? So still, it's just one character in all these, but, you know, seeing it from different angles and trying to see it in a different light it's a skill set in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think we have another question as well. When it comes to Animark, so I'm not familiar with these, so I'll probably pronounce them wrong. Platform, how helpful do you think it's been for your professional career? As a beginner, I'm kind of hesitant to share my stuff and build a brand outside of LinkedIn and ArtStation. Should one maybe consider doing it down the line once they've got an industry experience?
That is an awesome question. I love because it's really easy to answer. It has exactly how I'm speaking right now to everyone and all this stuff. I have no, it's going to sound strange, but I have no anxiety or stress around whether I'm good enough or ever going to make it or anything, because I feel like my enjoyment in what I do isn't dictated by anyone else. And that's purely because of Animark and the YouTube channel and the people that I've met. It kind of frees me up creatively, where it's like, my happiness isn't dictated by a job or anything else. I have 100% creative control over that stuff. And from day one, when I had 20 subscribers on YouTube and no one watched, and, you know, it didn't matter. It was when you start working in the industry and when you start, you know, all the different jobs that you have, you realize that it's not your company and it's not your this, and you don't own it. You're literally, you're a set of hands for someone else to facilitate their dream. And that's fun. Like, it is fun to be part of that process, and you have team mates and you learn a lot of things along the way. But there's nothing like having 100% creative control over something. And I think that all the other side stuff that I've done it's given me that freedom just to be like, I can take the weights off the shoulders a little bit, where I can come home and I can make this thing, and I don't need to worry about this and this, and I can put it out to the world. And if people like it, cool. If they don't, I think there's a lot to say for doing that. The second half of your question, hesitant to share your stuff and build a brand. So I'm sure we're going to get into the YouTube stuff and everything. And I'm not a YouTuber by any means of the word. I'm just, you know, putting stuff out there and giving it a crack. But there's no good time to do it. And one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given is the first 10 things that you ever post on YouTube are going to suck. They will. They'll be bad. You'll get no views unless you're like a phenom of some kind. So you may as well get them out of the way now, because in the future, when you have 100 videos on your YouTube channel, no one's going to care about the first 10. They're not. They're not going to be. They shouldn't be polished. It shouldn't be everything. It should be about getting the reps in and getting it up there, and just getting in the flow of it. So I think that's. I don't think you should wait. I don't think industry experience or anything. I reckon start small, which would be something like, you know, do a video of you doing something basic or something that's very manageable, something that you feel that is inside your wheelhouse, and just film it and put it up. And if it gets 10 views, doesn't matter. It's all about the reps, and it's all about getting comfortable with the process of, okay, I'm opening up a program, I'm recording, I'm editing it, and I'm putting it up. I'm doing it over and over and over again until you get to a point where, you know, you start making really good stuff and you have really good editing and all the other skills start coming as well. So there's never a good time. Do it now.
Cool. I like that. Yeah, I guess it's the same as kind of like LinkedIn and ArtStation and everything online.
It's all the same. It's all the same thing. I think I understand the pressure, like the preciousness of things that you do and being like, oh, I want to put my best foot forward. And there is something to that. I do get it. But at the end of the day, your next thing is always going to be better than your last thing. So it's like the sooner that you can push that out and move on, and everyone, you know, it's a shortcut. Getting feedback from people in the industry, like looking at it, even if say you put it up and it doesn't work back well, it doesn't come back well, that's feedback, that's information, that's shortcutting to the future. Like that's how I see it. It's like, okay, I need to change this and this. Or it's the same with getting people to give you feedback on your work, which is why I do a bit of that on the YouTube channel as well, which is I just see it as shortcuts. I see people giving feedback and getting feedback as a shortcut to the place that you want to go anyway. Because if you get no feedback and you do a whole bunch of stuff and you put it up online, and then everyone's like, oh, this looks rubbish or this is thing. It's like, oh, I wish I got some people to look at this first, because I would have been able to fix all these things before it goes up. So
yeah, cool. I'm excited to talk about more about the YouTube. I think we'll get to that in a bit, but that's going to be a fun one. So thank you. I think we have another question. Cool. What are some of the reasons you think the industry lacks entry-level character roles, and do you notice any improvements now that you work at a game studio?
Some of the reasons the industry lacks entry-level character art roles. Yeah. So in my experience, I can't say this, I just know in Australia specifically, higher level roles, or let's say mid, they're not exactly the most lucrative. Like the say games specifically. So say you're a mid or a junior character artist, not even a junior, so let's take juniors out of it. Say you're a mid or a senior. That price tag that comes with that person, I don't find is that much different to a junior. So I think in the way that the companies are, their thought process is, I can basically get a mid or a senior for the same price as what a junior is. And I think that's the problem. I think there needs to be a higher price tag on the art that we do for game stuff. I know it's very different in the States. Like a lot of the guys that I know that I've worked with, and American salaries for a senior character artist are very different than Australia, than different to the UK. Like I'm sure that there's different reasons for everywhere. Specifically Australia, I think the skill level is really, really high, and the pay bracket's very, very competitive. So I think it's just a combination of those two things, where it's long story short, it's basically easier to hire a senior because they're not triple the price like in other industries. You know, the difference between a senior and a junior might be literally 3 times as much to get a senior, but in games it's kind of like, well, they cost the same as a junior basically, or a mid. So it's yeah, it does suck. It's not great.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I think you're right, it's different everywhere. Like it's hard to kind of pinpoint the exact thing. Don't know where that the question.
I will say one more thing just on that. It lacks entry level character art roles. I think the quality of work is huge too. So it's not even like an experience level thing. It's like, if I can hire this person, whether they're a senior or junior, whatever, and their work is at this level, they're always going to take the best work. And like I've used this analogy before, but they're basically online shopping. If a studio has a task that they need, they're going to say, okay, we need someone, say it's like on Horizon or something, right? And she's got like that big flowing hair, and she's got this, we need a groom artist that can do this type of hairstyle in hair cards. And they're going to go out and they're going to look for who the best hair card groom character artist. And that's exactly what they want. They don't want to see someone who's done hair cards They want to see someone who can do extremely complex, good-looking AAA real-time hair cards. And I think that's what people could probably take a bit more when it comes to perfecting their portfolios is, and I know people are probably sick of hearing this, but exactly what you want to do that. Go really, really hard into the exact thing that you want to be doing. If you want to work on high detail clothing for games, if you want to work on grooms for VFX, showcase that. Showcase exactly what you want to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. We have a few other questions, but I think we'll before then, I would like to ask you a bit about your role at the moment, and then we can segue into them because I think a lot of them are about career, just to kind of get a better understanding of what you're doing at the moment. So, would you mind telling us about the role you're currently in?
Yeah, cool. So I just started at Plastic Wax at the start of this year. They've sort of been on my radar for a little bit, just purely because of the hybrid nature of what they do and what we do. If anyone that's not familiar with it, Plastic Wax does, I would probably say the bread and butter of the company is like in-game cinematics and cutscenes and trailers for video games. So it's sort of like a game, what is called Game Plus, where we have different avenues of online rendering, offline rendering, and it's sort of a nice mix between game and VFX, where you do game workflows and VFX workflows, which is something that I really enjoy doing. So it's really cool that I can do that in one place. But probably the main thing is the title of the role that I have, which is asset artist. And even before I took the job, I was like, I never really heard of like that as a specific. People call things generalists and character artists and whatever. But I'll break down specifically what asset artist is. It's like anyone who has ever worked in a studio, or even if you haven't, I'll explain it. Anything that goes in a movie or a game is an asset. A rock, an axe, a character, anything is that referred to like is an asset, whether it's in film or games, which has been my experience. If films I've worked on, they're called assets. Games, they're called assets. Cinematics, they're called assets. So I think to have a job title specifically based around assets, so it's like every day you can come in and go, okay, what am I making today? Am I making props? Am I making characters? Am I doing this? And doing the thing from start to finish is, like I said before, sort of one of the biggest things. You're not just modeling it and then passing it on. It's sort of doing every element of thing with every part of the pipeline. So you're kind of really touching on everything, which is really, really fun. Online and offline rendering too. So I think, yeah, if those jobs exist, if you could find a similar type of thing, if that's your thing, or maybe you just like doing characters and you just want to focus purely on doing character stuff, that's fine as well. But yeah, for me, it was a unique opportunity for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. So you kind of get a nice kind of like you get to do, props and characters and everything. Is that something that you enjoy?
Yeah, I think at the same time, the companies, like I said before, with finding portfolios, is that they want you to be as useful as you can be. So it's not useful for this company to go, Frank, go build a environment, because it's clearly not my specialty. Even though that may come up, and it's like, we're going to need you to pick up the slack over here because we need someone to do an environment. They want me to be as useful to them as I can be. So they will say, Frank, this is you're good at characters or clothing or whatever. We need this and this done for this. So can you go ahead and do that? I think that answered the question.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I think I haven't actually. We've had kind of character artists, environment artists, but not asset artists as a speaker before. So I think that's an interesting one to look into, and I hope that the audience here look into it if they're interested in it. It's nice to see different career paths.
Yeah, it's everything. So asset artist is, yeah, I could probably stop sharing this now. Hey, I think it'd probably be better for my internet.
Cool. We have a question based on career. We have a few other ones. I promise I'll get to yours too. It's just kind of trying to do them as the topics come up. So how long is it expected to take a junior character artist to make a character?
In a studio environment, in my experience, it wouldn't be the role of a junior to do. Oh, actually, you know what's funny? I was just speaking to a friend of mine who is, I would say he's a junior, yeah, and he's currently soon to be given the task of doing his first in-game character. He was one of the guys that I sort of mentored for a couple of years. Just purely sculpting and getting his workflows a bit better, and he's now like right on the cusp of doing his first sort of in-game character, and he referred to it as a non-important background NPC character. So I like that his openness to say that it's kind of whatever, but you sort of got to start somewhere, and I think that's from what I've seen, a rare case. Like, as a junior character artist, you would be doing elements that would probably help to it, and parts of like any junior role in any job, it's you cut your teeth, you do sort of like bits and pieces here and there, instead of here, have this crazy big responsibility, and I'll see you in 8 weeks is not. I don't think that's the smartest thing when nurturing a junior either. I think it's better to, dip your feet in a little bit and, okay, we need this belt and these pouches, or we need, things like that. So I don't know if it's so much of how long to do it, but I think anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks, just in general. It's so hard to put a number around it because characters are different. And when you say junior character artist, I'm going to guess you mean games, because that is obviously very different to a VFX timeline. It also changes by the art director and how they would change the look. So I think what people don't realize when they're making things as well is how to make things non-destructively. As working in a studio, one of the biggest skill sets that you can have is being able to adapt and pivot when things change. So like, say a character, he doesn't have his wings on his back, were feathers, and now they're going to be scales or something. It's like, we need to change it all out for that immediately. Like, you need to be able to work in a way where you're completely malleable to like just making changes and working on the fly and doing things like that. So timeframes usually push out. So it's not usually like we need this delivered by this date.
Okay.
I'm guessing, I think maybe outsourced studios might be a bit different. They might be like that. Like, say you were doing a skin for Fortnite, it might be a little bit more straightforward, where it's like, and I know guys who work on Fortnite that do skins that are like, okay, we are doing this in 6 weeks, which is probably half what some people are thinking. So I don't know if a junior would be expected to do that, but sorry, I'm rambling. But
no, that's fine.
it changes. It does change.
Maybe coming from like someone who's not a junior like perspective, if they're kind of practicing this stuff and they're concerned about timelines, would you say to them, be concerned and kind of try and kind of set yourself those timelines, or at this point kind of don't focus on that?
I think working in a way that's non-destructive is better, because the ways that timelines blow out and the way that you feel like, like everything's piling on top of you and you've got too much stuff, is when you've gone too far down a certain route. I think being fast and loose, getting the design right, like being able to go, saving backup files, like all these things that can, okay, if the goalposts shift completely, I can fix this. And this skill set in itself, to me, is what makes a good character artist. Is I can change this. I can make this look better like that. Like I can change it. I can fix it. We can make it look however you want. We can do this. It's not, oh, but I spent like 3 weeks on this jacket and I can't, like, I'm going to have to throw this out now. Like, you need that mentality sort of has to go, because I think at the end of the day, if the thing isn't what it should be or isn't what it needs to be, it doesn't matter. So it's like you need to be able to sort of be that, you know, Swiss Army knife in a way, where it's just like, yep, no worries. I can do a bit of everything. I can do this. We can make it work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's a good answer. Kind of be flexible. Cool. We have another question kind of on that, so I'll move to this one. Speaking of focusing on the quality of work we do as juniors, what do you think marks the difference between a great artist and an excellent one? Is there anything technical or traits that we should focus on to stand out from the rest?
Yikes. Well, the difference between a junior and a senior person, I mean, if you were to hold two pieces of work up, you know, again, this is being arbitrarily saying, like, the difference clearly to me, if I was to look at an extremely senior person, like one of the best sculptors ever, and a junior, would be reps. And it's completely repetition based. It's the same way, you know, working out at the gym, or, you know, working in a kitchen. Like, your first dish you're ever going to make isn't going to be great. The more times you make that dish over and over again, it's going to get better and better. I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, and people hate this because it's like, I don't want to put in the effort. I want the, you know, the fast forward button and be able to do it. But I find that there is a lot of fun in the reps and seeing the visual changes of how your work used to look and how it looked now. The first thing I ever posted, I wasn't happy with. And then now, even the thing that, you know, as of this year, I'm like, okay, it's better and it's getting good, but I still feel like there's room for improvement. So I think the quality of work of juniors, it just is what it is. Like, unless, like, kind of like I said before, unless you're a phenom and you're just like amazing off the bat, there's gonna have to be years of reps that get you to that level. So I think coming to terms with that, and just sort of always having that student mindset. Like, we've all worked with people that, you know, know-it-alls, or they don't feel like anything can. The best thing, like, the best thing I like to do is to always not know anything. Just be like, I want to continue to learn constantly. And I feel like when you lean into that sort of mindset of, I'm going to learn something new today, or I'm going to change the way that I think about something existingly, that's when you start to grow. I think that's when it's like a real, okay, this is something that, you know, it's tough. It's because it's not exactly the skill set that we learn. It's something that's a little bit more difficult to get your head around, which is, I'm going to open myself up to learning, which is sometimes tough because, yeah, you feel like you might have already done all the hard work, but hard work's never done, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so kind of push through and you'll see the difference, basically. Yeah.
Reps. It's always reps. Yeah.
Cool. I think we can move on to YouTube now. I think we have a few questions about YouTube, so that might be a good one. So you run the your channel. So how to say your channel? Animarch 3D. Yep. Cool.
Animarch. Yeah. So yeah, just a background of the name. When I used to work in, you know what I probably can show. Give me 1 sec. I'll just clear this up.
All right.
Purely because I had these on I had them for something else. But what people probably don't know, and I think work, like, people keep talking about jobs and working in 3D and wanting what they want as a job. Animarch was, I worked in architectural visualization before anything else. So like, cool. One of my original Animarch was created as a visualization So anyone that doesn't know what that is, I will share. Yeah, I'll share this and then just shove you down here. Cool. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet. So architectural visualization was what I started doing, which was, it's basically what it is, what it sounds like. It's architects being architectural work being visualized, and this was what I did through the pandemic to make money. It wasn't my passion at all by any stretch, but it was a really good way to stay in 3D, do modeling work, do texturing work, focus on all the elements of what I want to do, but just in a different medium. And I think if people could probably take anything away from this chat at all, it's being open to different avenues of 3D while you're doing other things. Like some people work at coffee shops or a pub or something like that to make money while they fund what their passions are in life. And I think finding a way to make money doing 3D at the same time is really good. So this was my way of doing that. And yeah, I guess that's sort of it. That was what Animark was as far as a company.
That's cool. Yeah. I think I actually was interested to, oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I was actually interested to see like how you managed to kind of move through these different kind of experiences in your life, because you mentioned like just kind of working and getting good and practicing, but obviously some people struggle with that because of the financial aspect. So have you kind of pushed through that by taking different 3D kind of roles in different places?
Yeah, well, the architectural stuff it just sort of fell on my lap, like, because I used to use 3ds Max, and then before I knew it, there was just way more work in it. It wasn't exactly what my passion was, but it was like I could earn really good money sitting at home making 3D images. Like, so I just sort of like, okay, how can I brand myself and expand on that? And yeah, it sort of took off more than what I expected, but it got me, the opportunity to buy a good computer and do all that other stuff and have flexibility and good work-life balance and everything. So yeah, okay. I think opening your eyes to different opportunities like that it doesn't always need to be the thing that you want to be doing,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. We have a question from Luca about the YouTube channel. To start a YouTube channel, would you recommend creating a series of videos of different types or focusing on a single style?
Would you recommend creating a series of videos of different types or focusing on a single style? Yeah, so good segue. When I started the YouTube channel, I actually was like, I'm going to do character art and architectural visualization. So it's just going to be like a 3D. And everyone that I spoke to was like, don't do that. Because the same way that when you run a business and you're not going to open a Chinese food restaurant and sell, I don't know, cereal at the same time. Like they're completely different. You know what I mean? Like you're marketing to different people. So I think honing in on exactly who you want to be spending the minutes on your channel and really getting like a dense group of dedicated people. Like, I'm not saying that if a channel like that existed, I wouldn't unfollow it, but I would be less likely to return to this place because I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be talking to some architectural visualization guy that I don't care about, or something else. Like, when you want a product, you want exactly that thing. Other people might be different. They might like a bit of everything, but in my experience and what I personally like, and I think what works, is focus on a niche and be really, really good at that, because I feel like that's going to resonate a lot better with your audience.
Okay. Yeah, we've kind of heard that. Yeah, like that's definitely a thing that a lot of people recommend, and for the reason you say, like, because it's confusing, isn't it? I think for the audience to see like what is going on. I think it's kind of like how you
Yeah.
mentioned with your image, how you use the yellow color to like really stand out. And if you have lots of different stuff going, you don't understand what's going on, then they're just gonna jump off straight away.
Yep. Yep. That's
Yeah,
it.
cool. So when it comes to YouTube video editing, which software do you recommend?
I use Premiere. I use Premiere Pro. So OBS. I use OBS is free for screen recording, and you know it's great. And then I do Premiere Pro, and I very rarely narrate while I record. I usually just film everything, like however I want, and then just cut it up afterwards, and then audio record over the top of it. So using Premiere, and Premiere is really good at the moment. Premiere's got come a long way.
Okay, cool. So question from me then, has having an online presence helped your career in any way?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's I've actually got work through Instagram before. My Instagram sort of took off in the last year. Like there was days where I was waking up and like there was like 500. Literally, there was a day I woke up and I had 500 subscribers overnight, 500 followers overnight. I was like, what is going on? And then it slows down. Like it goes up, and like social media is so weird like that. But that did, now it's sitting at a platform where it's tutorial stuff and, you know, breakdown stuff of my work. And it's just sort of like a poster board for what I'm about. And when you have a poster board or a digital footprint on social media, people find you. Like they will just organically find you through suggested things or whatever. And I've actually gotten work through that. Surprisingly, a lot of work actually, or like at least offers through Instagram, and ArtStation. ArtStation is what probably about the same amount. So I guess it has helped me in that sense. In that
great.
It's just another way for people to find you. And at the end of the day, we are now moving into it doesn't matter about resumes and all this other stuff. It's like, what does this guy do? How good is his work? I'm looking at it. Cool. I want him to do this thing for me. Like it's way less formal than it used to be.
Okay. I think that's a good segue into Ash's question. As someone wanting to start creating their social media presence, what are some good platforms to use?
Is there social media presence? I think that's a contentious topic at the moment about like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I don't actually have a Twitter. I don't have Twitter. I don't have TikTok. I barely even use my own personal Instagram anymore. I deleted Facebook off my phone. Like I'm probably a bit older than what some people think, but I feel like I transitioned out of the social media age sort of thing. Like I don't really rely on it as much. So I'm maybe not the best person to ask about what platform specifically. I personally like Instagram because all the people that I like, because it's a visual, well, first of all, it's a visual based program, a visual based app. So like the medium that we are in is visual. So from what I can see, TikTok is like, it's probably to a detriment to myself that I'm not on TikTok. But that is a choice that I make just because I can't be bothered, I guess. Maybe if we just keep growing and I could hire someone to do it for me. But yeah, it's just, you got to find the balance of doing the actual art and doing the work that you like doing. And then the other thing as well, because I don't want to be an influencer, like a 90% just do social media stuff and then just do some work every now and then. I want to be the guy who makes cool stuff and just shows it and shares it is sort of the way that I want to be.
So what's your goal with it then? Is it very much just to is it just something you enjoy, or is there a particular reason?
Take over the world. No, I don't know. It's just another way to get it out there, really. I was freelancing the last couple of years. So I think the goal then was that it was just like another business card where it's like, Because let's be real, like at ArtStation, unless the reach that a single platform like ArtStation has is pretty limited. Like even myself, like I find people on Instagram, I find 3D artists that work on characters on Instagram before I would probably find them on ArtStation.
Yeah.
So I think having a link between your LinkedIn profile, just in case they want to reach out and message, which is actually how I got this job. Like I got a message on LinkedIn and they booked an interview because through ArtStation, because this, and the whole ecosystem making that all work together and knowing everything about you. The last thing you want to do is to be able to search someone's name and not be able to find anything on them. So I think just making that as easy as you can for everyone is good. So also Instagram's great to not be so precious as well. Like ArtStation, I understand people want to polish their work and make it look amazing. You can like record your viewport in ZBrush and put it up on Instagram, and it's not going to matter. Which I do encourage people to do. Just constantly keep putting stuff out, because the more reps that you get, the more comfortable you get with sharing. It's only beneficial. Yeah.
Okay. There's a nice personal question. How much does your passion dictate what you do?
This is a good question. It's kind of got me a little bit stumped. How much does my passion dictate what I do? Well, I think a lot of my drive comes from frustration of not being where I want to be. So I love tech. I love games. I love film. I love watching a trailer of a game coming up that inspires me. I love seeing. I would probably categorize that stuff as my passion, which is like pushing the limits of things and being at the forefront of technology and like, finding new software and how to do new stuff. I think it doesn't exactly dictate what I do, but it's definitely like a heavy driver in what I want to be doing. Like if I see something that I enjoy or that I like, I'm like, okay, how can I push forward in that avenue to sort of incorporate that into my life, which is sort of actually what I'm working on at the moment, which is kind of fun, but it's sort of like a passion meets the work sort of thing, which is I would say that it heavily dictates, it heavily influences it. It may not dictate it, but I think the passion is always something that should be put in there as a driver, because money and all that other, and your attention is going to fade if you're not into it. So the passion is paramount, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, you do seem quite passionate about things, and you do seem to kind of use that to your advantage. But obviously, best.
Yeah, because things are going to get hard, right? Like you're going to get over it, like anything. Like there's going to be times where you're like, oh, I don't want to sit in the chair. I don't want to do this thing. So I think trying to continue to remind yourself why you're doing it is, it's going to be something that keeps you can't do the reps if you're not in the seat. So, and the way that you stay in the seat is stay passionate.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. We're running out of time here, actually, which has gone quite fast, which is cool. So we'll have a few last questions, and also if Frankie, if there's anything that you feel like I haven't gone to, then feel free. But
Sure.
like, what is your advice for anyone who kind of wants to start their career?
Don't be deterred by a lot of the questions when people are starting. Like more recently, I've noticed is people saying, "Oh, should I do this job because AI is going to take our job, or should I do this because I want to?" Kind of like the previous question about passion, just throw everything out the window. And if you were to sit down and answer the one question, what do you want to do? I want to make game characters for video games. I want to make creatures for films like Avatar or Alien vs Predator, or like, you know, whatever it is, and then reverse engineer. Okay, so see yourself in that position in 5, 6, 7 years time, and just step back every year, and then get to a point and go, okay, as of day one, if that's in 6 or 7 years, what do I need to do today? What can I do today to get me closer to that thing? I got to probably make something that is in line with that thing. So it's not going to be, if you're not there yet, or if you're a junior, if you're starting, it's not going to be great. But the next 1 or 2 or 3 are probably going to be better. And then in a year or two, when you've posted heaps more, it's probably going to be better again. And then before you know it, you know, I think lying out that timeline of what you want to be doing as the end goal is, and really seeing what that is, and having it as a reminder of why you want to do this thing, instead of just mindlessly going ahead. Don't be deterred by AI and all this other stuff. Like, do this because you love doing it. And I think that's probably the best driver.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I think we don't hear enough of that at the moment. Cool. Well, I'm gonna open it up to the floor for a couple more questions. I know that we've already kind of met an hour here, but for everyone, you know, still here, this is your chance. I might not be able to get to all of you, but there was a question that hasn't been answered. Can you recommend any Photoshop alternatives for a final polish?
Photoshop alternatives, like as far as software, Critter is good. Critter's another free one. Critter with a K. If you haven't seen that before, that's like a lot of my 2D art friends use that. There's a lot of cool like community. It's sort of like Blender. Like what Blender is to 3D is Critter is to Photoshop, in my opinion. So if you haven't seen it, Critter's good.
Cool. Thank you. I have a few people typing here, but was there anything, Frankie, that I didn't kind of ask you that you feel like you wanted to mention at all?
There was a question I saw further up before, which was, what was your opinion on Technicolor shutdown? It's because of the increasing demand of social media platform like shutdown. It's because of the increasing demand of social media platform like YouTube or AI. Sort of just like what I was saying before. I can't speak for that one specifically. Like I don't know the reasons for the shutdown, but the AI thing, like jobs taking and things like that, it's just such a common question, and I think it comes from. Okay, I worked on a movie last year. I can't talk about specifics and stuff like that, but the concept art for it was AI driven, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it, and it led to so much confusion. And so, like, this is a real world scenario that I'm telling you right now. Concept. There was a job that I was on as a artist, and the concept art was driven by AI, and it was the most infuriating job I had worked on, purely because the vagueness, the lack of direction, it wasn't. This is not going to be a plug and play scenario where it takes jobs. It's just not. Like I can see automation coming in as far as AI taking things, and to answer that question specifically, I can't see shutdowns of studios of multitudes of people with skill sets because of AI. Like I just can't. That's not right now. That's not a thing. And I think even in the future, it's going to be a choice that people are going to say, we don't even want to work with it. And if we're going to be using it, it's going to be for a very small part to automate processes, to speed things up, to do tasks that people don't even want to do, that's how I see the best use of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Especially as someone who does concept art, it's good to hear from your perspective, like that wasn't helpful. You know, like you didn't have necessarily the information that you needed to complete your role in that case. So that's interesting.
I think, yeah, because I think people don't know that. Like the process between concept, art director, and facilitator, like the people that make the thing, that do the thing, the people that drive the look of it, and then the people that ultimately sign off on what it looks like, that is like it needs to be a relationship between everyone, and it's never just design, make it, put it in the game, or put it in the film. It's never that. It always just goes back around and around and around and around and around and around until it gets to a point where it's like, okay, we're all happy with this thing. Like concept, do it, now change it. Concept, do it, now change it. This and AI stuffs up that whole relationship because it's a one-way street with AI, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah, cool. I like that. We have another question. Do you have any advice on making a portfolio stand out, especially for fresh grads?
Yes, I do. And I gave this tip to a friend of mine the other day. This is purely my rip this off. There. Is that there? Sorry, again. Screens. Share screen, station. Cool. So this is mine, and by no means is this like perfect or anything like that. So an easy win off the bat is cohesion. Like for me, clearly defining, like you could take a look at my profile straight away and just be like, oh, this dude's into characters. Like obviously it's a whole bunch of characters. There's something to say for neatness and organization, as far as like the scale of them are all right. Like it's not like when you go to a portfolio and you see like a full body and a this and a this and a this, it's kind of jarring in a way. Like I find that having a sense of cohesion between all of them, like they're obviously all not from the same thing, but having some neatness basically to your portfolio is an easy win, like automatically an easy win. What was the rest of any advice on portfolio stand out? I don't know if that's making it stand out, but it's definitely like when someone goes to your page, you don't want them to go, ugh, like even if your work's great, you want to be able to make it look good, or you want to be able to make it look like, okay, this person's got some semi-organizational skills or like creative design skills in making this stuff look good.
Cool. And I think something that you mentioned before is that the women that you particularly model usually get more traction. That's something that we talked about. Yeah,
we did. Well, it's funny because I actually was told, a mate of mine, this is probably, I worked with Raphael Grassetti on this, the guy that was one of the art directors on God of War. One of the best character artists, teaching me the best skills on a concept that I thought was really, really cool.
It is cool.
And he even said to me, he's like, be prepared for this not to do well. And I was like, why? And he's like, because people don't like ugly dudes. That's just how it is. Like, and I was like, okay. I didn't exactly agree, but it's true. Like it's a jarring looking thing to me. I just love interesting shit. I don't really care about like, sex appeal and all these other elements of design that actually come into reasons why people, and it's just human nature. I get it. Like it is what it is. But to me, I just like interesting stuff. Like that's more important to me. So, like it is true that I would probably try to, if you're trying to get somewhere that's reach a lot of people, see a lot of things, get those cheap wins. Attractive is always better than ugly. I could maybe say, even though I like the ugly stuff.
I think ugly is not the right word. I think it's just not like typical. Does that make sense? But I know what you mean. Like I wouldn't call that ugly personally, but it's just like not, I guess, beauty standards. Maybe that's what kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, he's beautiful in another way. Let's call it that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny though, because I don't know if anyone here will agree with me, but when I look in art books, this is the kind of stuff that I search for. But when I go on Instagram, I go for the typical stuff. I don't know if anyone else has that, but art books are one of those things. I open it up and I'm like looking for the cool stuff. I don't know. Maybe your work needs to be in art books. Yeah.
I've got some art books back there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool. Last question then, because we are over an hour, and I know a lot of our audience are in Europe, so I'm sure a lot of you here it's really late for you already. But yeah, in terms of making videos for YouTube and Instagram, editing wise, do you try to follow the trends? Go with what you feel is right, want to make? Do you have any specific why for musics and sounds? Sorry, I think you might need to decipher that. I'm not entirely sure what they meant by the last one.
That's all right. I'll read through it. Just quickly, I'll anyone else who's just about to jump off before you do, before I answer this, because I can see people saying that they're saying goodbye. Inbox is always open. Hit me on Instagram, on Discord, on anything. Like I do find it's probably as equally amount as enjoyable doing this stuff as it is helping other people. I have been doing it for years. I have my own Discord channel as well. You can find it on the YouTube and in the bios of Instagram and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to find it very easily. But I'm more than happy to help all the time. So always feel free to reach out to me with any silly question all the time. Like I usually wake up every morning with a bunch of questions in my inbox. It doesn't take me long to help out if I can. Hopefully most of the time I can help out. But always hit me up. Never feel worried to do that. So I'll just start with saying that just before everyone leaves.
Thank you. Where's the best place?
In terms of making videos for YouTube,
where's the best place to contact?
Discord. Discord and Instagram. Instagram, like Instagram and Discord is good.
Find your Instagram. I'll post it in there as well. I posted your YouTube.
Yeah, the Instagram has a link tree that has everything. So jump in the Discord. Everyone's sharing their work in there. Even if you're looking for a place to share your work, like there's a few hundred people in there now. It could be a good place to share your stuff before you feel more confident to get it in other places. But
yeah,
cool. Let's get back to that question quickly. In terms of making videos for YouTube and Instagram, editing wise, do you try to follow the trends? Go with what you feel is right and what do you want to make? Yeah. So this is a great question. As far as because I spoke to a friend of mine recently she's also a YouTuber doing similar art. Is you've got to find the balance of what you want to be making and playing the game. And I found all my interviews, so I do a podcast sort of thing on my YouTube. If you guys want to check it out, it's called Industry Insight, where I talk to industry professionals in our field. And so I've spoken to some of the coolest people that I know and that I love learning from and everything. And they are some of the worst performing videos that I've got on my YouTube. It's just facts. And to me, it's some of the best content, but it's not the most, as you say, going with the trends or playing the game or any of this kind of social media stuff. So there was a part of me that was I don't know if I want to keep doing this anymore. And just focus on. You can go in the YouTube studio that has talk about AI. AI does a quick scan of what content you do, and it suggests what your next post should be. And it's this is what the title of your video should be. This is what you should do a video on because it's probably what's going to perform well. And for the most part, it's pretty right. Every time I've done it, I'm oh, that's actually not bad. I think the common thing with a lot of the questions here is just follow what you like doing and don't try to. If your goal is to be an influencer, then don't listen to any of this and follow all the trends and do all that stuff. But for me, it's just doing what I like doing. So, those interviews are some of my favorite things to do, and they're some of the worst performing videos. So
I think it just comes down to
don't feel worried about being frustrated.
Span. Not getting the thing straight away can sometimes deter people from even watching it, even if it would be valuable to them. Yep. Liz says they've watched your episode with Annabelle and it was great, so don't stop.
Thanks. Yeah, Annabelle's good. That was who I was talking about. So Annabelle, we both suffer from the same thing where it's you're making content. It's like, should I make content that I know is going to do well, or should I make content that I actually like doing? Which is ultimately what this question is. I'm assuming. It's the same thing with the art stuff. Like even in the middle of making this guy, the guy was like, be prepared for it not to do well because people don't click on ugly of whatever you want to call it. And I didn't care. I was like, whatever. Like even Volk, like this project, like this is one of my favorite. He actually, am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually, this is a MMA fighter, an Australian MMA fighter, one of my favorite athletes ever. And he reacted to it. He commented on it on Instagram. And this isn't by far one of my best performing things that I've ever done, but I was like, it's probably one of my favorites, and I'm really, really happy that I pushed through and did it, because Gears of War is one of my favorite games of all time, and then Volk's one of my favorite fighters of all time. And then doing like this is like not only the most creative, but like, I don't know, like, yeah, it was original, it was creative, it was weird, and even if it doesn't perform as well as it other stuff can, it was one of my favorite things I've ever done. So
I love this one. I think it was a really clever idea, introducing like someone that is real, so like a celebrity basically. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
really cool. I love that one. I think it's one of my favorites. So maybe it's just the yellow one is the one that everyone's drawn to straight away.
It could be a combination of all of the above,
Yeah.
But do what you want to do is the sentiment.
Yeah. Cool. I like that.
Thanks for the questions.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. I think we've gone through all of the questions actually, and we have with good timing. So yeah, thank you so much, Frankie. That was really useful. I've posted your Instagram, your YouTube and everything in here, your rookies entry above, like right at the beginning. And thank you so much for allowing and inviting everyone to message you and ask questions. We really appreciate that.
I mean, I can see everyone saying thanks. I mean, guys, this is why I like, people think of the end goal as like getting a job and being, all this. For me, this is the sort of stuff that I really like doing. I love connecting with people. Like I said before, always feel free to hit me up. And I think the more that you do in work and all that, you start to realize that it's not the be all and end all of what makes you happy and what got you into this. And to me, it's the freedom of creativity and meeting people and helping people and making cool shit just in general, this is why we're doing it. And I think when all of us just sort of take that pressure off a little bit and go, all that stuff will come, money will come, things will come, just enjoy the process of what you're doing is number one. Honestly, for me, it's number one. So be kind to yourselves. Don't be too worried about AI and jobs and all that stuff. And good luck with the awards.